Last fall, I started a project where I was creating a bump out / parking area across from my driveway. I had gotten all the trees cleared and I had started pulling stumps with the mini excavator, and then the mini ran into a really big problem. There was a problem with the blade where it wouldn't go up and down anymore, and the whole project ground to a halt, and I wasn't able to get things fixed up so that I could finish it before winter came. So it's now spring and things are warmed up and dried out. I've got the mini excavator fixed, the blade is working fine, and I want to get this project finished. First up is pulling the stumps. After that's done, I can level out the land, and then I'll purchase some road pack, which is the same stuff I have in my driveway, level that out and pack it down over here to really make a nice firm parking area, and do the same to my driveway to get this project all done. The bump out across from the road is now done, and I am feeling quite relieved. My mini excavator broke down not once, but twice during this process, which started clear last fall. The first time my blade wouldn't go up and down, and then the second time, about a month ago, I blew a hose and leaked about 5 gallons of hydraulic fluid all over the road here. But I got both of those things fixed, and I got everything completed. The road pack is spread out and packed down, and it came out pretty good. The one thing I am a little bit disappointed in is that there's kind of a mound in the middle of where I leveled things out, like right where the pile was. That's a little higher, and I think that's just because it's really hard to. It's called grading, when you're leveling things out like that. And when I'm sitting inside the machine, it's actually quite difficult to get the perspective that I need to be able to see that everything's even. So I just kind of spread things what I thought was even, but then at the end you could really see there's sort of a mound where that original pile was. So props to people that do this all the time. It's definitely not super simple. Next up is the driveway. That's going to be a little easier, I think. I'm only going to put a few inches on it just to kind of resurface it. But there is one thing I want to take care of. There's a spot sort of at the front of my driveway where water collects, and it's mushy a lot. And so what I'm going to do before I pack down the whole driveway is I'm going to dig up that spot, kind of dig down maybe a foot or 18 inches, and I'm going to throw some rocks in there. That way when I recover it, it'll kind of firm it up a little bit. It won't be so mushy. I just got the second load of road pack dropped for my driveway, and I definitely fouled up. I had asked the driver to do this operation called tailgating, which is where you open the back end a little bit and then you sort of drive along, and when it's done well, it kind of distributes the road pack evenly along the road, making it easier to spread. But he did not do a great job, and what I ended up getting was this sort of elongated mound of road pack that is actually probably gonna be twice as hard to spread. So I guess I got what I deserved there by trying to be creative. I should have just had him drop it in a pile, but I'll work with it and we'll get it done. This driveway has changed over the 4 years I've been here, both just over time as it's eroded and seasonally. Especially during rainier seasons, I find myself constantly having to monitor it and shape it so that water will run off in a way that doesn't destroy things, such as my culvert. It reminds me that there's one of the qualities about living out here that's very different than living in a modern setup, is that I'm much more exposed to change, especially the kind of change that results in something degrading in a way that maybe I wouldn't prefer. It makes me think that there's something about being a human being, the human ego, that doesn't really like change. It's stressful. My guess is that we have accounted for that, maybe largely unconsciously, in our modern lives by constructing it in such a way that it minimizes change. Buildings will last for hundreds of years. You have a granite tabletop or a granite kitchen countertop. Unless you drop something heavy on it, it's going to look basically the same in 20 years as the day you bought it, or very mild changes anyways. And that's just not true out here. I see change almost daily. Just the walk from my car to my front door, or when I'm walking out to get wood in the winter. It's like there's always something that's slightly different, even if it's just that there's a new soft spot that I might step on and trip over. And while that can be frustrating, I also just feel more connected with the reality of change. And I think it's helped me not only embrace change a little better, but it also makes me more attuned to it. Oftentimes where I'll walk out my front door in the morning and I can just notice subtle differences, little patches of grass that have come up over the last few days that weren't there before, things like that. And I really do believe it's because I've put myself in this environment where there's so much
more of that subtle, constant change that where the environment is stimulating me in that way, that I've just become a lot more aware of it. And I on the whole, I think it's healthier. I think I feel more alive, and that my whole system is more plugged into what's actually happening, as opposed to what I think is, it's nice. It's certainly nice not to have to worry about that stuff if I'm living in a modern home. But it's a bit of an illusion compared to the real physical world.
I was convinced I had done a terrible job grading this road pack on my driveway, but now that I've had a chance to look at it after it's been packed down, it doesn't look too bad. I mean, pretty good for an amateur. I'm definitely satisfied with it. In addition, I was able to set aside some extra road pack in a pile, which is really great to have because this stuff will degrade a little bit here and there, and it's just nice to have that to patch it up.